City Jazz Sessions is about great music, arts, and entertainment. We are located in St. Louis, Missouri, and available to performance art lovers worldwide. Follow us on Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter. You can email us at cityjazzsessions@gmail.com.
All right. How's everybody doing?
Hey, that was our other host, Ronnie. I am Laka, and accompanied by our co-host Leon, and our special guest today is Brian Owens. We will be talking about music at the intersection, and then some of his new works, and just him as an artist. Welcome, Brian. We're so happy to have you.
Well, I've been on this whole time.
You're on right now. We just
we just went live.
Okay, great. No. I mean, I don't know if I was doing something like looking crazy or. No, this is good. No, hey, yo, I'm in it.
Yeah.
What's up? What up, Laka?
Oh.
Laka and Leon.
Yes, LNL.
LNL.
Yes, and we have Warren Harper, our producer, in the background. So we are going to be talking about music at the intersection first. So what can you tell us? So I reached out to Kransberg because we really wanted to highlight this festival and what it means for our city, with so many artists either from here or having some ties to St. Louis, national recording artists, international recording artists, local artists, and they pointed us to you because you will be hosting from the Fox Theater. So tell us a little bit about Music at the Intersection, the festival, and how you got involved in it.
Really from the inception, I was having conversations with the folks who were putting it together, and I thought it was, obviously a great idea to be able to not only bring national acts, but to really provide a platform for some of our folks who live here. I don't like the term, always using the term local acts.
Mm-hmm.
They are St. Louisans. They live here, but many of these acts tour nationally, internationally, play for and back up, A-list artists. So I think it's a great opportunity for folks in St. Louis to not only experience some of the greatest music from around the country, but also to realize again, to realize that a lot of the greatest music in our country right now comes from right here in St. Louis, and it's right here in St. Louis. So you got 6 venues, all in the Grand Center District. You're gonna have more than 60 acts that are performing, and about 40 of those are going to be localized folks who are from here or live here. So I'm excited.
Right. I love that, using that term, just St. Louis artists instead of local, because I do feel like local tends to have like, oh, they're just local artists, I don't need to go see them, but let me wait till a national act comes or till they go somewhere else and then come back.
Yeah.
So I love that term. So we've got 6 different venues. There's the Fox, there's Big Top, there's Open
Sheldon.
Air,
Yeah, Open Air.
Sheldon, and did we miss one?
So Jazz St. Louis.
And Jazz St. Louis. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and the Grandale Theater. Yeah.
Oh, right. Which is the open air concept.
Yeah. Well, the open air tent is going to be like the dark room, because we had open air happens right outside the dark room under the tent.
Right.
And then the Grandale Theater is the theater that's on the inside.
Okay, got you.
Yeah,
So they'll be using both of those.
Yeah.
All right. So let's start with the lineup for Friday. So we've got, first up, I'm going to just focus on the Fox right now. We have Tonina. Now, have you seen her perform?
Have I seen her perform?
Yeah.
Have I seen her perform? This is why I get to. So we did a series of tapings out here in Ferguson at Earth Dance Farms last year for pilot episodes of what's going to be known as Homegrown Soul, and one of those episodes was with Tonina. So if you go on YouTube, there's actually a video of me and Tonina doing a duet of Strange Fruit. What you say?
Oh my God!
What you
nice.
say? Do I know Tonina?
Oh my God! You are
the bilingual bassist queen extraordinaire. Are you kidding
my
me?
God!
Come on.
She's amazing. She's absolutely
She's dope.
amazing. I saw her right before she left for LA, before she moved to LA. So I'm so excited that she's going to be back and the first act at the Fox Theater. And I'm definitely going to look up that video.
Yeah,
I'm sure it's going to be amazing, you two together. All right. And then we've got Lee Fields and the Expression.
Woo!
Tell us a little bit about Lee.
I think the first time I heard Lee Fields was probably about 10 years ago. And when I heard it, I thought it was like a long lost, soul album from the mid to late 60s. And when I saw that this was somebody singing in contemporary time, I mean, it just gives you a ring of James Brown and Solomon Burke and imagine all of the great jazz voices rolled up into one, and his band is phenomenal. So it's authentic soul. And he's one of those guys too. It's like my dad, where it's like they have so much information in their voice just from living.
Mm-hmm.
Like I sing soul music, but I can only sing soul music to the extent that somebody in their like 30s or 40s can sing soul music. They sing soul music, and there's like so much more information behind what they're saying. Like,
right.
Like it's ridiculous. That's one of the performances I'm really looking forward to, because I've never gotten a chance to see him live, so that's gonna be cool.
Okay, and I feel that. I feel everything you're saying about that. And then we've got Roy Ayers at 10 that night.
Mm-hmm. The legend.
All right. And I'm just gonna run through a few of these. So that same night, on Friday night, September 10th, they've got the Big Top, Naked Rock Fight, Brother Lazarov, John Cleary, Monster Gentleman at the Sheldon, Heart Cave, Beth Bambara and the Mighty Pines.
Mighty Pines.
Yes, which we all know and love. And they actually did a concert at the Fox earlier this year.
Yeah.
And during the pandemic.
They also did a concert at Earth End Farms about 3 weeks ago. And I went around there.
Yes, how was it?
Oh, it was great. We did some songs together.
Nice.
And they did Homegrown Soul last year. And if you go on YouTube, there's a duet of us doing this song called Wildfire.
And is this all on your YouTube?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you go to Brian Owens Soul, you can see some of these acts. But I love it. Mighty Pines are ridiculous. They're ridiculous.
And I love that you've collabed with so many of these artists.
Got to.
Yes, absolutely. And then that same night, we've got Brother Francis and the Soul Tones, David Grelly, Playador.
Dave Gorelli, yep. My God.
Ikibe, Shakedown. And then Jazz St. Louis, we've got Mike Zito. And then Open Air, we've got Ben Wheeler. So that's the lineup for Friday alone, which is just unbelievable. So many acts.
Go to Saturday.
Let's go. So Saturday at the Fox, we have Mark Harris, which I know well. Mm-hmm. Super amazing jazz artist who's really doing so much. Just came out with a new single, Pocket Change. So y'all definitely check that out. Scooter Brown, saxophonist.
Scooter.
Yes.
Don't call me Carlos. Scooter.
Yes.
Scooter Brown.
Check him out. We've got the St. Louis Legends award presentation that night. And then Keon Harold, trumpet player, which we've had on. Yes, and we have had him on the show. He's worked with so many artists. He's in New York right now, but so much St. Louis love. Gregory Porter.
Yes. Whose most of his band is from St. Louis.
Nice.
So
go ahead.
Harold on drums and Jamal Nichols on bass. So
okay, cool. I did not know that. Then we got the Big Top. Stop me anytime, Brian, on any of these people you want to expand on. So Saturday night, September 11th, we went through the Fox lineup, and then the Big Top lineup. We've got Kenny DeShields,
my dude,
Sample Culture, Black Fade, which I know I did a gig with him. Damn Funk, Ilphonics, Midwest Avengers, the Soul Rebels. So do you know, besides Kenny, do you know any of the other in that lineup for the Big Top? So this is more of a hip hop. I'm assuming.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard of I mean, there's a lot of cats that I've heard of.
Right.
Haven't gotten a chance to work with, but I'm sure I will get to. But I mean, it's just gonna be. I think the diversity of music too is what's gonna be really cool for the weekend.
Yeah.
You know? And so the lineups that you're laying out are really indicative of that. Like, there's gonna be a diversity of music that people can dip into.
And the Big Top, this lineup that I just went through, these are more hip hop artists. But the thing that I like about Black Spade is that he uses music, like real instruments, and that combination in hip hop to me is just so sweet. And I'm sure a lot of the other artists are doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we got at the Sheldon, we got Caleb Kirby, Brady Lewis, the Baylor Project.
Oh, wait.
Yes, go ahead.
Wait. Well, I love Caleb. Amazing drummer, writer. Brady, love Brady. The Baylor Project, though. Marcus and Gene Baylor. Marcus Baylor played for the Yellow Jackets from North County.
Mm-hmm.
Gene, who was one half of was Zane or Zane? I think it was Zane. Back in the day. Hey, Mr. DJ.
Yes.
Yeah, that's Gene.
Nice.
So but what they do is really dope. What they do is really dope. So I'm looking forward to that.
Right. And are they out of New York? I mean, now currently.
Last I heard, I think they were out of Jersey.
Okay.
They're out of Jersey, not far from Philly.
And then we've got BB and the Neo Souls, and I know BB. She's extraordinary. She just did an Aretha Franklin tribute for the Aretha Franklin movie that just came out, Respect. So she's amazing. And we got Katara, and I know you know her because I just saw you in a video with her that I did see.
What video? I was in the video with Katara.
Did I see you in a video with Katara?
I don't know.
Or maybe it was a picture.
It could have been. It may have been a picture.
Yeah.
Katara, both Katara and BB, when I did the show with Michael McDonald back in 2019 at the Two Hill, they both played on that show. Matter of fact, a lot of the Kransberg artists in residence were on that show. Ben Wheeler and Caleb and Brady and Carlos, they all performed in the opening of that show. Yeah.
I remember that. And then we've got Betty Levette.
Whoa, do you know who Betty Levette is?
I clearly do not.
Oh, man. Okay, so the first time I saw Betty Levette, I was at the Sheldon. Betty Levette she reminds me a lot like Lee Fields in the Expressions, right? Like somebody who had, like, when they were younger, they had a career, but then people really rediscovered them in a more seasoned time of their life.
Yeah.
Dude, Betty Levette, when she sings, it's an experience. I mean, it's like part Mavis, part Aretha. I mean, she's from that cut of cloth.
Right.
Yeah.
I saw something that Music at the Intersection had on her. So for a lot of these artists, if you guys are listening, you want to check it out. If you go to Music at the Intersection, they highlight a lot of these artists and their stories if you want to learn more about them as we go through.
Yeah.
All right. And then we got the Grandel, Parisian, 18 and Counting, Brock Seals, and then Jazz St. Louis. We've got Janet Evra, which we all know.
No Janet.
Yes. Open Air, we've had Ryan Marquez that night, and we've had him on the podcast here. He just had a new record come out, and he's got an album release party this weekend, so you guys definitely make sure to check him out. That's all September 11th, Saturday, September 11th. A lot.
What's the 12th? What's the 12th?
At the 12th, at the Fox, we have Anita Jackson.
Woo! My sister.
Absolutely. And she was in the Christmas movie that you did. I know you've done a lot of stuff with Anita. but
Oh
I
yeah,
distinctly remember her being
Grandma Dorothy.
yes
Grandma Dorothy. She
in the
killed it.
Christmas movie. She
She
absolutely did.
killed it. Yeah,
She
yeah,
absolutely everything she touches turns to gold. That's for sure.
yes, yeah. I keep Anita close as much as I can. As much as I can.
Absolutely. And then we got Denise Times,
Of course, the legend.
the absolute legend. And then who's last but not least at the Fox
Woo!
that night?
Now think about this. Now this is when you talk about, you know, a show full of just powerful women. Anita Jackson, Denise Times, and Layla Hathaway.
Yes.
And Anita Jackson, Denise Times, and Layla. When Anita Jackson is your opener,
Right.
you should like, and Layla Hathaway is your closer, and sandwiched in between is Denise Times. Yeah, that's gonna be kind of. That's gonna be That's gonna. This is why I'm not singing the whole weekend, because there's way too much talent on that stage. I'm just like, you know what? I'm just gonna listen. I get to just listen the whole weekend. It's beautiful.
You sure you're not gonna sneak anything in the intermission?
I
mean,
am
couple
sneaking
notes.
in a thing. I'm going out
I
there
heard
and
that.
I'm going to host.
I heard that.
You know,
I love
you
it.
know. We'll see.
Mhm.
If it feels right.
Right. If the spirit moves you.
If
If
it
the
moves.
spirit moves.
If it moves. But right now it ain't moving that way. I want to come out and just get out the way. So y'all know who coming. Get ready.
Yeah. Yes, that's gonna be an amazing night at the Fox. That's Sunday, September 12th, the closing. And then at the Big Top that day, we've got Funky But Brass Band.
My dudes.
Yes.
Yes.
Starting at noon, Booker T. Jones.
Wait. Okay.
Oh.
Do you know who Booker T. Jones is?
I do not.
Please,
School me.
Okay. We gonna have a class. Girl, Booker T. Jones is the anchor for what we know was the musical anchor for what we know is the Stax Rhythm section.
Really?
Booker T and the MGs, Green Onions, all of the Otis Redding stuff, a lot of the Salmon Days stuff. Yeah, Booker T. Jones, he was a prodigy. He's a prodigy.
Wow.
Oh yeah, that's he's a legend. Like we throw that word out a lot, but like he truly is a legend.
Love it. Yeah, he's right after Funky But Brass at 1:30. We've got Hunter Tones.
Oh, you don't know about the Hunter Tones? Oh man,
that's Brian.
Yo, look. So when I was doing my last album, I was working with a producer named Brian Backus, who does everything. He did like Gregory Porter, Liz Wright, and Nora Jones. And we were working on this last song, and he was like, "Man, for the horns, you should get the Hunter Tones." And I'm like, "Who are the Hunter Tones?" So I went online and I checked them out. These cats are ridiculous. I mean, it's a band, but it's also like their horns. It's a horn section. Mm-hmm. Like they are legit. Nice. They are legit. Man,
now, are they based? Are they based out of St. Louis, or where are they based?
No, they're not from here. They're not from here. Okay. I think they might be East Coast.
Okay.
They might be East Coast. Yeah, they're dope though. This is so great. I know all these acts. Anyway, who else?
Roland Johnson.
Come on.
Roland Johnson.
Oh, you know Roland.
Of course. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
All right. Then we have Selwyn Birchwood. Marquise Knox, which
I know Marquise.
Absolutely. We're actually going to have him on the show next week. He has a festival that same weekend as Music at the Intersection. That's going to be on the Loop, and that's going to be for free. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Tell Brody I said what's up. Shout out to Alonzo.
Yes.
Shout out to Alonzo Townsend.
Absolutely. We just had him on last week.
Yeah.
So he's doing so much good stuff. So excited about Marquise, great blues legend, not legend yet. He's pretty young.
I mean,
he's a legend in the making.
Yeah, I mean, but for St. Louis blues, in terms of torch bearing and people who are carrying on that tradition, I mean,
Absolutely.
Marquise is kind of that cat.
He absolutely is. Yeah. And then we've got Don Bryant featuring the Bo Keys. At the Sheldon, we got the Carrie Louise Band, Hillary Fitz, Nikki Hill, Western States, One Way Traffic.
Nikki Hill. So Nikki Hill's from here.
Okay.
Yeah.
One Way Traffic, John Henry. At the Grandel, Junior Clooney, the Scandaleros, We Are Root Mod.
We Are Root Mod. Now, I know you know We Are Root Mod.
Yes, I absolutely do.
Yeah.
Young group, very
Yes.
talented group.
Yes.
Just really doing their thing right now. So definitely check them out. Loop Rat after them at the Grandel. And then at Jazz St. Louis that night on September 12th, we have Clark Terry Centennial Project.
Yeah.
And then open air VIP tent, they have Cena So Proud. So that is the lineup.
Woo!
Yes, over 60
Man.
acts, 6 stages, 3 nights, and so much St. Louis heritage, music heritage, and super excited about this festival. So what do you feel like a festival like this means for St. Louis?
I mean, between us, after the last festival that was supposed to happen here didn't happen here, if you remember, right? Mm-hmm. And so I think that being able, first of all, just to have a festival is a big deal, right? Being able to gather musicians and for people to be able to take in music. To be able to do it in a pandemic, I think is even bigger of a deal. Which by the way, we want everybody to know that like we will be taking in this music and appreciating these artists, but we will be doing it safely. Mm-hmm. Right? We want to make sure that, you know, in our appreciation of the moment, that we don't lose sight of other things, that mitigating circumstances that are happening around the world, which don't have to keep us necessarily right now from enjoying it if we all do our part. So, you know, all the venues will be participating in having COVID-19 mitigation policies so everybody can come and feel safe. And I think that's a big deal right now for people to come in and feel safe and be able to enjoy the human interaction that we missed. Because, I mean, you know, performing to an audience is a lot different than not performing to an audience.
For sure.
Unless you're doing a taping. You know, if you're doing a taping, then, you know, you can approximate some things. But if it's like supposed to be a show and there's no audience there, it feels a lot different. And so I think that, you know, I'm anticipating the enthusiasm of people just being able to get out again and on this scale. Like there've still been some shows and different things like that, but getting out on this scale and being able to go around to all of these different venues because you just get a pass, right? You get a pass for the day or for the weekend, and you can take in whatever you want. So if you want a little bit of Jazz St. Louis, a little bit of the Grandel, and a little bit of the Sheldon, and some of the Fox, you can do that. You can plan your whole day or your whole weekend around the consumption of this music. So I think it's going to be important just for the health, just for the health and well-being of our city. I think it's going to be something that's really, really good to do.
Absolutely. And I do want to say that the Kransberg, especially who's, you know, a part of putting this together, they have been really excellent, taking all the COVID precautions very seriously throughout, and then still trying to make sure that we have music, you know, having the tents, open air, the big top, things like that. When everywhere else was shut down, they tried to do what they could in a safe way to keep music going. So shout out to them and everyone working on this festival, like you said, to make sure it's safe, but we can still enjoy the music. All right,
Chris Hansen. Shout out Chris Hansen.
Okay. All right, so if it's okay with you, we're going to go ahead and transition from the festival and kind of just talk Brian Owens for a little bit.
I mean, the festival's way more interesting.
I know, but we need to
get hear about the lineups. Did you hear the lineups? I mean, come on.
Yeah, but since we have you here, we do want to talk a little bit of Brian Owens. So I know you had a record that you released. Was it last year? Love Come Down?
Yeah, Love Came Down.
Love Came Down.
Love Came
Yeah.
Down.
So
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about that. I know I read some interviews or some articles where you're kind of talking about the album. It's a little more like jazz inspired than some of your previous projects. But just kind of tell us just a little bit about it.
It was a stop off on my musical journey back home. I mean, I put out in 2017, 2018, I put out 2 albums, one Solar Ferguson and one Solar Cash.
Yeah.
And which are probably my two of my favorite albums that I've done, especially Solar Cash. And then, I just, for whatever reason, wanted to take a break and took a detour, and for the first time wanted to work with a producer, which I had not done previously. I was really I was co-producing some stuff, but I was the primary producer on those projects. And so my manager, George Littlejohn, connected me up with Brian Backus, who, again, like I said, produced Gregory Porter and Liz Wright. Just a ton of people. And so he connected me with Jay Newland. And Jay Newland, who was the engineer who did all the stuff for Norah Jones and all the stuff for Gregory Porter.
Right.
And then Jay was like, well, we gotta go down to Memphis and do this with Boo Mitchell down at Royal Studios in Memphis, where Al Green recorded all his stuff. Nice. So the whole experience of it, and being able to involve the young artists that I was developing at the time, like Melina Smith, who's one of my proteges, and another
love
young
her.
Guy, yeah, and another guy named Paco Lee, Joshua Lee, Paco. And then being able to go down with me to Memphis and have that experience of a whole week spent in the studio with these legendary, cats who've done so much in the music industry. And then, when I got down there, Boo looked at Jay and was like, "You think we should try him on number 9?" And I'm like, "What's number 9?" And it's like, the Reverence mic. I'm like, the Reverence mic. So I sang all of the sessions on Al Green's mic.
Wow.
Yeah, it was walking to that space was like, it was. I'm not saying there's something in the room, but when
there's
you
something
walk
in the room.
There's something in the room. It's because nothing's changed.
Right.
I mean, it's the same studio that Al Green walked into in the 70s to record. The same organ, the same booth, the same mic, the same console. So there was something in there, and we found some really beautiful music. And for me, it's probably the most beautiful album that I've ever made. The musicians were crazy good. Mm-hmm. Crazy. I mean, I had Peter Martin and who else? Who's on the record? So Peter Martin, Stephen Crump on bass. I had I'm forgetting everybody. I'm gonna have to pull up who's on my album. Steve Potts on drums. Why am I totally blanking on who's on my album? This is crazy. I'm gonna have to pull up. Anyway.
That's okay.
Anyway, no, it's gonna come to me. Sherrod Barnes on guitar. It's gonna come to me in spurts.
Mm-hmm.
And John Coward on keys. So yeah, there we go.
There you go. You got it.
It's all in it. But having all those cats in the studio at the same time, all these very accomplished musicians, finding this music, and then we came back and were able to have members from this, some of my friends from the St. Louis Symphony and some folks from the Salem United Methodist Orchestra now. And I wouldn't have been able to do it without the support of the Stewart family, who, graciously were benefactors in that project. So, I mean, Love Came Down was it was a beautiful moment in my musical life. I'll say that. I think for me, I haven't made my best album yet. I think I'm getting ready to make my best album in this next album.
Are you working on something right now?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I told you it was a stop off on my journey back home.
Gotcha.
So I'm coming back home. So I'm coming back to the soul. I'm
Yeah.
coming back to the stuff that my mother grew up on, the stuff
Right.
that because I think people need some nourishment. I need some
Absolutely.
nourishment right now, and so I'm coming back to that Americana soul vibe. But I love doing that album. Um, Sometimes I just listen to the instrumentals because
Hmm.
the music is just so beautiful.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, 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 yeah,
It
yeah, yeah.
absolutely is. You guys check it out. I've been listening to it, getting ready for this podcast, and it, like you said, the music is just so good. And one of the things you mentioned I think it was an article that I read from Kevin C. Johnson. You were
Hey
mentioning,
Jay.
yes, you were mentioning how like the notes just kind of came like less like hollering, like,
Yeah,
um,
yeah, yeah. And I attribute a lot of that to Jay Newland, to
mhm,
the engineer. It's one of the first times in my recording experience, and also because I wasn't doing my soul thing that required me to have that kind of grit.
yeah,
But singing on that mic with Jay at the board and with Boo, knowing his studio the way that he did. I mean, I remember the moment that it happened. We were recording this song, a cover of "I Have to Say I Love You" in a song, which is a Jim Croce song. And I remember being, the band was just grooving and grooving. I was just playing on the mic, and it was like I was I was doing my best kind of Al Green-ish impression, like
mhm,
just getting used to the mic. And I realized that I was singing really soft, but I could hear everything that I was saying. I
yeah,
could hear everything that I was doing. So the way that he constructed my vocal, like the presence in my ears was like nothing that I'd ever had before.
right,
And like literally that on that record, you hear me probably more relaxed vocally than I've been on any album. And it's just different. It's
right,
just a different way of singing. But because of that now, building off of that, I think I can, the older you get, the more you know, and just being able to like pull on everything now. That's why I'm
mhm,
like, it's a beautiful record, but I think the best album is going to be the one where I'm able to pull all those albums together,
right,
and
yeah,
where like the songs are good, are really good, and the way the approach is really good, and I'm able to, you know, to do what like in my best life what Marvin was able to do with songs, where he could use all of the colors of his voice, you know,
yes,
within two measures. I mean, Marvin Gaye's the only singer that I know that could be super super silky smooth and within 4 beats can be completely rough, and it doesn't sound forced. It doesn't sound like a big ramp up to get to. It was fluid. It's like a sax player,
right,
like a horn player just putting air through the horn. So like getting to a point as a vocalist where like just knowing really how to use an instrument effectively. Like I feel like that's where I am right now. I'm just old enough and I'm just young enough.
there you go. I love it. It's a great album. Um, all right, so I want to talk about some of your film projects and then also um, Life Creative.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So let's just start with the film projects. I know you had was it your directorial debut with the Christmas
You could call it that.
production? Or,
You could call it that. I call it
or what would you call it?
artistic facilitation. I don't know that I really directed. I mean, like,
Okay.
but yeah, for lack of a better term, we say director. But I had a lot of good help. I had a lot of good people around me. Shout out to Sophia Stevens, my girl, who co-wrote and helped me out with it. And again, working with the Stewart family to come up with an amazing project that was also a gift from and was also and premiered on PBS.
Yes,
What a great way to start,
absolutely.
right?
For sure. And
Yeah, yeah.
it was a
And it was a
very
great movie with
it was very high quality, very well done. If you guys haven't seen it, what was the name of it?
A New Holiday.
A New Holiday.
A New Holiday.
And we already talked about. I don't know if we talked about before we started recording or actor, but Anita Jackson.
Anita Jackson,
Who else?
Kennedy Holmes,
Kennedy Holmes, yes.
Riley Adams, who
Yeah.
played young Thelma, just absolutely killed it. And my girl Sophia. Rhythm section for the recording was everybody from like a Darren Jackson. So Pops was on that album. Had some of the Funky Blood guys on horns with Jason Swagler, Matt Henry on percussion. Had Eric Slaughter in there. Had the
Nice.
Had the 442s on string. Like it was literally like we brought the whole A squad out.
Yeah.
You know, to get everything done, and it turned out really good. Even had David Sanborn on playing on it. So, and had BB Winans and Karen Clark Sheard on the team.
Wow. So was it a movie? Was it a film, and then also you had a soundtrack for it?
Well, we didn't put out any music. So yes, because it's a musical,
right?
But we haven't put out the
audio version. Okay, but is that coming?
Maybe we may put out a couple tunes. We may put.
I would definitely do it by Christmas this year, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, be looking for it again. I think.
Okay.
We our prayer for that movie is that in the time that we were in, that it would be able to be a balm for people and like really just like help people find meaning even in what was last year and what maybe even will be with this year with everything that's going on.
Right.
And so look for it again on PBS this year, and look for it more on PBS this year. Absolutely. And we're also working on another holiday project, and another special, because we had another special that came out last year too, Solar Ferguson Review, that was on PBS that had Joanna Saranko and Melina, and my dad was on there, and my friends Deacons of Soul, and so I'm really excited about the film and television opportunities.
Right. What do you like about that compared to just performing your music live?
It's just more layers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just different ways of telling stories, but you know, I love the potential that exists in industrializing in that space. We'll just say that. Not just for me, primarily not for me, but for a lot of other people. Like doing that movie, we were able to, in a pandemic, able to put a lot of people to work. Yeah. And me working on an album, it puts a couple people to work. But me doing a movie or a television series, that puts a lot of people to work.
You're right.
You know, and so, you know, my real focus now is industrializing that space, because I think that St. Louis has everything that we need here to be able to do that. So, absolutely.
Yeah, you're right. I think that does bring more attention to our ability to make films and in the city. Like we have everything that we need to do it. So there's no reason why more of it can't be done.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so now let's go ahead and move to what is life creative?
Good question. Are you asking me like I know? I'm supposed to know what it is. I'm still trying to figure out what it is. No. Okay, so the easiest way for us to explain it is life creative is an ecosystem umbrella, meaning life creative is our ecosystem. It's a creative ecosystem. And then in that ecosystem, you have two main drivers. You have the nonprofit side, which is Life Arts Inc., and then you have the for-profit side, which is Life Creative Group. The nonprofit side is the driver really for like educational, programmatic, and really the people building.
Okay.
The for-profit side of Life Creative Group is the driver for projects, you know, that those can then, you know, take advantage of. And so the idea is that the for-profit side will become an economic engine that funds the nonprofit side. So the for-profit side becomes the economic engine. And so together, as the two entities in the ecosystem, we're able to facilitate other partners under the Life Creative umbrella to be able to industrialize. And industrialization, I think at the top end of the funnel, it takes doing those top of funnel, high level projects where you're working with people who already have talent, but just need exposure and experience and opportunity.
Right.
And also new curricular strategies at the middle school and high school and college level that are then developing folks and creating pathway. So that's the focus of our ecosystem. We've got some great partners: M1 Bank, American Portfolios out of New York, Maryville University. We're partnered with Beyond Housing even.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's the thing. Like a lot of our partners aren't necessarily creative in terms of like how people think of the creative space, but they're people who value the creative space. And we value what they do because we understand the holistic needs of any artist. Because we're dealing with, just because they're artists, we're still dealing with people. And so there are other needs that exist there that have to be tended to. So I'm looking forward to, I can't talk too much about it now, but working on some stuff with Regional Arts Council and UMSL Accelerator, and like, no, it's dope working on some stuff with Jazz, St. Louis, and Keon. Like,
yeah,
I'm excited, and that's why I like too, like me hosting this event and not singing this event is kind of representative of a shift that I'm starting to make as it relates to my relationship creatively with the city. I think people have heard me sing, you know. I think it's time to start championing a movement towards industrialization and development of young talent and exposing people to the history that this city is built on creatively. Because we are not the stepchild of Memphis, Chicago, LA, Nashville, and New York.
Right.
Like we forget. Other people don't. We forget. We it's not like we had people come from here who was just doing like little things. I mean, we had innovators come from here. Yeah. Scott Joplin, Miles Davis, Robert McFerrin Sr., Grace Bumbry, Michael McDonald. So many. Donny Hathaway. The list goes on and on. Chuck Berry. Right. And so I think now it's time. We're in a season where not only can we reconnect with those roots, but the stories of those roots can literally uphold an industry.
Yeah.
When
we talked to Alonzo Townsend, he was talking, the same thing. He was saying the same thing, and that's one of his visions and missions for our city, is to kind of carry that heritage forward and make sure we don't forget our roots and what great music heritage our city had.
Yeah, so we need an industry. We need an industry. Individuals can only do so much.
Yes.
Institutions can only do so much. But industries can actually emerge. Like, you never hear emerging individual. You never hear emerging institution. You hear emerging industry though.
Right. Absolutely.
Because an industry can be an umbrella place. It can be a place where you can kind of like get out of the individualism and get out of the institutionalism and bring people together around something that's bigger, where the sum of all parts, it's Voltron. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's industrialization, and I think we're primed for it right now.
Absolutely. So, so you are the director of Life Creative, executive director?
Yeah, so this is one of the things that I'm most has blessed my life the most, is being able to watch how our methods, how God has allowed our methodology to play out. And so I was the executive director of Life Arts, brought my cousin here in 2017. It's like, you're going to run this organization at some point. Now he runs the organization. He runs Life Arts. I run Life Creative Group. Paco, who started with me, 3-4 years ago, now he has a record label that is doing amazing things and getting, placements and writing for films. And even some of the other people that have come through our ecosystem that are doing great things now. Maria Ellis, girl conductor who conducts at the Sheldon. She's working at Sumner right now in the choral program. She won an award from the Broadcasters Association this year for her radio show. That's on
awesome.
that's on the classic station. Michelle Bird, who runs the Unison program at the Symphony. Melina Smith. Rachel Morgan, who's my assistant, but who also works for Peter Martin in Open Studio. Like, it just keeps going. And the great thing is that, like, they're all leaders.
Right.
So we believe in low scale, high impact. So we don't believe in saying, hey, we served 5,000 kids and we don't know what 10 of them are doing. But being able to say, we served 10 people, and those 10 people are now a part of an exponential scaling.
Right.
So I helped Maria, and now Maria's got 40 kids at Sumner, and then continue to work with people. And even like Carlos and Carlos Brown and Brady Lewis, they tour with me back in the day through a program we had called Tour for Life. Anita being a mentor to some of our people, we're building out a real true ecosystem and community where I think that the processes can be duplicated.
Yeah.
And we're getting that proof of concept, and it's healthy. It's healthy.
Absolutely.
So no, I'm excited. I'm excited about all of this stuff.
All right, so before we wrap up, Leon, did you have some questions you want to ask Brian?
Sure. So, somebody must have told you about me. So what's it like working with your dad?
Man, you know what? Like, now I appreciate it even more because my mom passed away last year, and it's weird when I think I only have one parent. But I'm also really fortunate that if my dad wasn't here, I got all this content that's real. That's real. I mean, when my father and I sing together, it's just indicative of the conversations that we have all the time. So being able to sing with my dad, especially we've lived parallel lives, my father and I. From both being in military bands to decisions that we've made. I would not be able to do what I'm doing had he made different decisions back in the day. And so now, for people now to experience his voice, which is way doper than mine, I think is amazing. It's amazing. And so we're going to be doing a lot more too. We're working on a series right now where he and I will be doing some pretty cool stuff. So
Okay, so I like all kinds of music, and so this question is not meant to, in some way, be a slight against any type of music, but as rap has transitioned, it's become more. It's actually put a lot of musicians out of work because they use synthesized bands and that kind of stuff. What's for me, some of it is good, but I don't know if it's good for the industry of music as a whole. What would be your take on that?
I have other ways of measuring the efficacy of things that aren't necessarily specifically tied to genre. Right? So I look at substance. So it's not so much the vehicle as it is. What is the vehicle carrying? What are you saying? And is what you're saying healthy, wholesome, and nurturing to the listener? That's kind of my standard. Full disclosure, I mean, most of the young cats that I work with right now, they're hip hop artists, but they're also hip hop artists who are in situations where they work with bands, and I think that's well, and historically, like, that's important. I mean, when you look at cats who, like Nas just dropped an album. You know, what people consider one of the best albums of all time hip hop to be To Pimp a Butterfly, which was Kendrick Lamar with a bunch of jazz musicians, basically. Right. So I think that, you know, we can be prisoners of the moment, but the one thing that cycles around and doesn't go away is real music. And like real, and I say real in the terms of like when you have people who are putting their hands on instruments and playing them and putting feeling in them and putting spirit in them and putting love in them and putting passion in them, like that will never go away, because that always translates into an amazing experience for people, whether it's live or whether it's tape. And for our part, and I can, you know, speaking for our ecosystem, that's what we seek out. So I'm like, great, you do hip hop, that's cool. Like, let's do it musically. So even if you want to use synths and all that kind of stuff, I still want you to be informed. My son is 13 and he wants to be a producer, but he takes piano lessons. He listens to a wide variety of music, so that whatever he's doing, it's at least being informed by that. But again, for me, it comes down to the substance. Right. What are you saying? What are you feeding the people? And I think from that standpoint, the pop industry is going to be what it is, and definitely hip hop culture has influence. It has now. It's just pop. It's popular. So right. It's in everything. Just like at one point, jazz was in everything. You know, at one point, you know, disco was in everything.
Yeah.
Hip hop is in everything. Nelly has a country album.
Absolutely.
Right? Hip hop is in everything. But at the end of the day, you know, my thing is like, what are people going to be listening to 20 years from now? And I want all of my people to make stuff that people are going to be listening to 20 years from now. So that requires you to then use things that are tried and tested and like can stand time. And you know, instruments tend to do that. I'm just saying.
Sure. So name about 4 or 5 songs in your normal playlist.
I mean, that I listen to?
Yeah, on a regular basis.
Okay, this may be a shock. I really don't listen to a whole lot of music at this point in my life. I listen to a lot of worship music. I listen to a lot of Jonathan McReynolds. You know who Jonathan McReynolds is? Dude is ridiculous. Just go on in YouTube or spot just Jonathan McReynolds. He's ridiculous. Okay. Musician, writer, psalmist, like he's just ridiculous. And I listen to a lot of audiobooks, and I listen to the Bible. I listen to a lot of talk radio. I listen to podcasts. Yeah. And most of the music that I'm listening to is either music that I'm learning or like stuff that I'm listening to that I'm getting ready to record, or stuff that I'm writing, or stuff that I'm developing with other people. That tends to be my musical diet right now. But every now and again, you know, for a while I was really digging on Dobie Gray. Everybody knows Dobie Gray from Drift Away, but the dude had other songs. And I was digging on Dobie Gray. I was listening to some Chris Christopherson and some of his stuff. Yeah. But right. My kids are really the ones that like musically like kind of keep that fire going. Like we go on family drives and like we listen to the Clark Sisters, or we put on the James Taylor's live album. So this week we went on a drive and we listened to Stevie Wonder music in my mind. So yeah, so like I don't know that I have a playlist per se, but you know, it's all in there.
All righty, I got a couple more and then I'm gonna get out of your hair.
So I don't have a top 4.
Okay. Have you gained anything from having to work through this pandemic? You know, has it by trying to get through the challenges, have you learned anything that you think is going to help you moving down the road?
Absolutely. One of the first, something happened to me last year that I never really thought would happen to me. Well, I kind of did because I would say it in interviews, but I didn't miss the stage last year. And I mean, maybe it's because I had to focus on other things, but I didn't miss the stage. And partly because I got to be creative in ways that like I maybe always wanted to, but just opened me up. And so whether it was doing the concert film for Sola Ferguson or, working on video, projects or doing that movie, what I learned last year is that like truly being a creative is being open to all of the platforms and not being like, I'm not locked. I don't feel like I'm locked into one platform, because what happens when that platform gets taken away, which is what we saw last year. Like if I would have spent my time missing the stage, then I wouldn't have found being, directing.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I found directing, it's kind of like now I appreciate the stage for a whole nother reason. And the power of media, like so that's what I learned. What I learned last year is creatives have to be multifaceted, and you cannot lock yourself into one platform. You have to be open to other platforms, because at the end of the day, we're all just trying to tell stories.
For sure.
How you do that, I think it helps to be open to how you tell those stories.
You play any instruments?
Piano, but not in front of people.
You gonna share?
I had a Marvin Gaye show that I toured for a while, and I would play the What's Going On, all that kind of stuff, because it's like kind of the same chords. I could fake it with my band, but no, I wouldn't play. I have a new band now of just young guns, and I got Antonio Foster.
Oh, he's amazing! I know him.
Yeah. So Antonio Foster, Desiree Jones on drums, Connor Lau on guitar, and a young guy named Nathan Pence that's from here. Nathan's my dude, man. Nathan's been with me since he was 17 years old. So I had to wait for him to graduate school so then I could start bringing him back. But so with a band, like, I have no business. My job is to walk out and tell stories and not touch any instrument. I have an instrument right here. The first instrument. I got the first instrument. So I focus on that.
Do you do any writing though when you're writing? Do you play around on the piano?
Yeah, I'll do it just for ideas,
Mm-hmm.
and just for vibe. I prefer writing on Rhodes or a Wurlitzer because it hides a lot of stuff. So, it's a little more forgiving than piano in terms of like how I formulate ideas. And just sonically, it just puts me in a different mood, a different space. But yeah, the last demo session that I did, I just had the whole band come in, and I just sat there with a microphone. And I'll just fire off ideas and be like, okay, yeah, I like that chord. Okay, let's switch that up. Okay, go to the 5 there. Like, I'm down with that, but I'm not playing, man. I know too many good, between Antonio and Pops and Peter Martin and Manis, I have no business going near a keyboard if they're around. So, yeah.
Well, I want to say I thank you very much. I really enjoyed having you with us today, and definitely we'll look forward to having you back.
Yeah, anytime. This was fun.
Absolutely. And you know what? I feel like I've said absolutely 1,000 times, but you have some performances coming up though.
Do I?
Yes.
Yeah, I got September 4th. Yeah, so this Saturday, September 4th, I'm playing Alton for the Alton Jazz Festival. So I think Dave Dickey's going to be there with a sextet that has Tez in it, so I get to see my guys. Melina's going to be singing with Dave Dickey, and so she's going to be there. She may as well sing with me too. So yeah, I think that's all. I mean, I have that, and then
music at the intersection is right. And then music at the intersection is right after that.
But I'm hosting.
Hostess with the mostest.
Yeah, I'll be hosting there. And
Awesome.
then we got some tour dates in the fall, going to LA and New York. And then just working on projects, trying to get these film projects out the door. So lots of fun.
Okay, so where should people follow you?
You can follow me at Brian Owens Soul, BrianOwensSoul.com. And if you want to know more about our ecosystem, you can go to lifecreative.org.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on.
Woo-woo. When you playing again, Laka?
Oh, let's see. I have a show at Blue Strawberry on October 9th.
Cool.
Yes. So everybody come out. It's called the Music and Me, and it's kind of cabaret style. So I'll be talking about my life growing up in Cape Girardeau and my stories and my challenges, and then just singing the soundtrack to all that. So it's gonna be a good time.
That's what's up. What time is the show?
It's 7:30.
I might actually be able to do that.
Yes, put it on your calendar.
Because I don't be with 8 kids. I don't be getting out like that.
And they are all beautiful, and so is your wife. Oh my God.
She's bomb.
Yeah, and you just kept the poor woman pregnant.
You act like that was my fault.
Well, whose fault was it?
It was you.
Right. It takes two to tango.
That is exactly right.
Yeah. A beautiful family. You have a beautiful family.
Yeah, so I don't get out. So I like to kick it with them,
Right.
So I don't get out on weekend. Weekends is usually the time where I'm not. Yeah, it's usually family time. So I try to get out though. Have a little date night.
There you go. All right.
Cool.
Well, have a good night.
Deuces, y'all.
Thanks a lot, Brian, for coming by.
City Jazz Sessions is brought to you by St. Louis City Jazz, a 501c3 company dedicated to music education and appreciation. The CEO is Magic Man 50, and for more ways to connect with City Jazz Sessions, visit cityjazzsessions.wixsite.com/St. Louis. The City Jazz Sessions team includes host, content director, and guest coordinator, jazz great Ronnie Barrage. Follow Ronnie at ronniebarrage.biz. Host, website designer, graphic artist, content director, and guest coordinator, singing sensation Laka. Discover more about Laka at lakamusic.com. Additional production services are provided by Lions Den Productions. Go to thelionsdenstl.wixsite.com/home. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe for more great content.